Okay, this is an update on the raspberry patch. This is about, by my guesstimate, 50 foot long. Probably it's thin at the end, and then maybe in the middle, maybe 8 or 10 feet wide in the middle, and then it gets thin at the other end. About, I will say 3 years or 4 years ago, there was a raspberry here and a raspberry there, and I didn't touch it. I just left them. They didn't bother me. And this is a bed where on the bottom you get these little blue flowers that started years and years ago and now have spread all the way over to the front yard, and they cover half the front yard. I forget what they're called. I want to say bluebells, but I don't know. Anyway, or forget-me-nots. But they come out in the spring, and it's beautiful. This used to be beautiful blue, and now it's overrun with these raspberries. Within like 3 years, it went from 2 or 3 raspberries to this beautiful, overgrown raspberry patch right on through. And all of this is here in the bed where we have the statue that came from my father's house, that my father had at his house, of the Virgin Mary. It's about, and that's about 4 feet, 3.5 feet tall in there. And it weighs a ton. Anyway, so the question comes to the house, should we remove these raspberries and get them out of here because they've overgrown? That is what some people in my family say. My wife's opinion. My opinion is, when you've got raspberries, make raspberry jam. I don't like to kill anything that is growing and healthy. And this is growing. It's healthy. It's here. If you want a raspberry patch, well, here is a raspberry patch. Was this where I would have planted it? No, I would have rather have a patch somewhere on its own. It covers the statue. Now, I will prune around the statue maybe so she can be seen. But other than that, I did videos earlier, and this was absolutely gorgeous when the raspberries were there. Now, I'm not used to being in a raspberry patch, probably never been in one or seen one. I've never been to a farm where there was one and I looked at it. But when I walked through here in the summer or spring, and this thing was covered in red raspberries, it was like a patch of plants covered in red flowers. And I made the point that this beautiful sweet fruit, the fruit of these plants, would be more like an offering to the sweet fruit, the fruit of her womb, the fruit of thy womb, Mary. Jesus is the fruit of Mary's womb. So I made that kind of comparison. So this is just an update. I do not want to get rid of these raspberries. And I do want to get in there and do the proper pruning. I think there is some pruning you're supposed to do at some point. I'd like to do that if I have time. So this is the update on the red raspberries, the statue of Mary, who always leads us to Jesus. And that's where we'll end this, is the fruit of Mary's womb, Jesus, and Jesus is that's the important thing. We always want to be heading towards Jesus, not away from Jesus.